So the day has finally come, and DC has finally given us a taste of what the future is gonna look like.
So as many of you know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time. So Peter and I started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters.
So DC finally decided to make the announcement and give us a taste of what the future is gonna look like. James Gunn came out in a brand new video released by DC, and they announced Phase 1 of the DC Universe that is titled Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. So the new DCU is gonna kick off with a couple of different films. First, we have Superman Legacy, which is the Superman reboot solo film that is set to release in theaters on July 11th, 2025. Another film, which was the only other film that we got a release date for, is The Batman Part 2. This is of course the sequel to Matt Reeves' The Batman, and it's officially titled The Batman Part 2, and it's hitting theaters on October 3rd, 2025. So in 2025, not only are we getting everything that Marvel's bringing, including Avengers The Kang Dynasty, but we're also getting a Superman reboot solo film and The Batman Part 2 all in 2025. James Gunn says that Superman Legacy is really the start of the DCU. It's not an origin story, and it focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. He's the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way. He's kindness in a world that thinks kindness as old-fashioned. The next movie that's on the way is Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. This is described as a sci-fi epic, and it's apparently based on Tom King's comic book series from 2022. James Gunn said, "In our series, we see the difference between Superman, who is set on Earth and raised by loving parents from the time he was an infant, versus Supergirl, who was raised on a rock, a chip off Krypton, and watched everyone around her die and be killed in terrible ways for the 14 years of her life." So this is going to be a sci-fi movie, and it is going to be super dark. This is described as a super dark story, so we are getting a Supergirl solo film. As of right now, we don't know if it's going to be Sasha Calle, who we're going to see debut in The Flash, but nonetheless, we are getting a Supergirl solo movie set in the DCU, and it's set to be a dark sci-fi thriller. Now, we know that The Batman Part 2 is on the way, but the Batman franchise is still going to be separate from the DC Universe and all of the other interconnected projects. But DC is still coming with a DCU solo Batman film that is titled The Brave and the Bold. And this is going to be a Batman movie that focuses on Bruce Wayne and Damian Wayne as Robin. I am so excited for this project because James Gunn said that this is going to usher in the Bat family to the DCU. And if we're starting off with Damian Wayne as Robin, then that means Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Barbara Gordon. That means they all already exist. And again, this is going to be a father and son story. I am super excited to see this come to life, and finally, it's about damn time that we see the Bat family in the DC Universe. Next, we're getting a Swamp Thing solo movie, and this is going to be a horror that tells the origins of Swamp Thing. Now, to round out the films we're getting in DCU Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters, we are getting The Authority. So this movie is going to bring to life a really obscure team of comic book characters, and they are mainly comprised of anti-heroes that take the law into their own hands when the government fails them. So to round out all of the upcoming DCU films we know are on the way, we have Superman Legacy, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, The Brave and the Bold, Swamp Thing, and The Authority. That is 5 movies that are on the way, but now let's jump into what's coming to HBO Max, because there are also interconnected live action series that are on the way that will intertwine with the larger DCU story. So we're starting off with Lanterns. It's about damn time we see the Green Lantern Corps back. And this series is going to be in the vein of True Detective, and it's going to focus on Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. Now, this series is going to be huge because James Gunn and Peter Safran confirmed that this series will lead in and tease and set up the larger story that's cooking in the greater DCU. Another series that's on the way is a Wonder Woman prequel series titled Paradise Lost. This is set to focus on Themyscira before Diana is born. And James Gunn describes this as like a Game of Thrones-y show. And this gets me really excited because Game of Thrones is my favorite show of all time. And the fact that we're getting, you know, a badass Amazon warrior inspired show that focuses on Themyscira and the Amazons. Like, dude, this sounds awesome! We're also getting an Amanda Waller HBO Max series with Viola Davis coming back, and it's said that a couple of the cast members from Peacemaker will appear in this series. Now, because James Gunn has been busy working on the Superman movie, that's why Peacemaker Season 2 isn't happening, so the Waller series is said to be a continuation of Peacemaker. The next series we're getting is a Booster Gold series. Dude, the fact that we're finally seeing Booster Gold in live action is freaking insane, and this is probably, besides the Lantern series, this is probably my most anticipated series with ease. Because Booster Gold is a hero from the future that uses future technology to travel back in time to be a hero in present day. And James Gunn described this as, if imposter syndrome was a superhero, it would be Booster Gold. So I think this show is going to be a massive hit. I think Booster Gold is about to gain so much popularity amongst general audiences. And yeah, a Booster Gold series is coming to HBO Max. Finally, we have a Creature Commandos animated series that will lead into live action and then back into animation. So one thing the DCU is doing is they're using different mediums to tell their interconnected stories. We're gonna see live action movies, live action shows, and then animated shows that all connect and weave together to tell a greater story. And Creature Commandos is gonna be one of those animated series that connect to everything else, and we'll eventually see the Creature Commandos in live action, but we're starting off with them in the animated form. And the same actors that are voicing these characters in animation are also playing the characters in live action. That's something that James Gunn did confirm. And the reason they're starting off by doing this in the animated form is because it's cost effective. It's a way for them to tell this story without, spending $50 million to do the live action thing, instead of just telling it in a way cheaper way in the animated form. So even with all of the announcements today, there's still a bit of uncertainty moving forward, because James Gunn and Peter Safran did confirm that it's not going to be a full reboot, and they will bring back some old actors from the old DCU and use them in the new DCU. But they did say that for the most part, they are going to cast new actors to play certain characters. And again, this is very confusing. I think the only reason they're saying this is because they can't come out and say Ezra Miller is gone, Jason Momoa is gone, Zachary Levi is gone, because that would hurt the box office performance of Shazam, The Flash, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Blue Beetle, I think that franchise, that movie is safe. But again, a lot of the future of the characters we're going to see come to life in 2022, whether it's Shazam, Flash, Blue Beetle, Aquaman, their future is dependent on the way those films perform at the box office. So I think when it comes to those movies and those characters specifically, I think, DC is kind of just chilling back and waiting while they continue to build out the DCU with all of the projects we've talked about in today's video. So guys, let me know in the comment section down below, which project excites you the most? That is Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters for the new DCU. And then we also have the Elseworlds stories still on the way, because DC is still actively developing Elseworlds stories that don't connect to anything else on our standalone projects. The Batman 2, Joker 2, all of that stuff is still coming. So let me know in the comment section down below which DC project excites you the most for the future. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, like this video, and I will see you guys next time.